So, here's something a bit unexpected for you all. A speed paint. Sorry I can't give you all a sketching process as well, but I don't have a good camera for that, and I don't have a tablet. So I had to do this by hand first and scan it in. So I'm sure you're all wondering, who's this douchebag? Well, this, ladies and gentlemen, is Scott Conklin, the protagonist of my upcoming book series. Admittedly, I had this book up and available on two occasions, both of which were flops for one reason or another. You can still find the oldest version on Amazon because they refuse to remove its page even though it's no longer sold. Since then, I've done extensive work on rewriting and improving it, and am continuing to do so. It's been a harrowing process, painful at times when certain flaws and mistakes are pointed out. But I'm happy with the direction it's going now, and fully intend to make it as close to perfect as I can. As for our protagonist here, Scott is. Well, I'm sure you can tell a lot already from how he's presented here. He's tired, but determined. Angry at the world, but that one quirked eyebrow shows he's at least curious of some new turn of events. He's heavily beaten, as shown by his sunken cheeks and eyes and his missing right forearm, but far from broken. Scott's the sort that sees the ruin around him and takes offense for everyone stuck living in it, then goes out of his way to offend everyone responsible and tear them a new one whatever way is most effective and efficient, before returning to just being tired of everything until the next travesty crosses his path. He learned to be a cynical realist, but once and still is at his core a practical idealist. The world around him is a mess, more so than you can imagine before reading the tale I'm weaving, and he's come to accept how ball-bustingly difficult it's going to be to get remotely close to fixing it. As for his inspirations, people who know me may think he kinda looks like me. But that's a vague consequence of the people he's actually based on being an amalgam of family members I've either admired and lost, or still find more reasons to be honored by knowing to this day. This includes both physical details and personality traits that are very, very far from my own, but familiar enough from secondhand experience to depict them well. My grand and great-grandfather on my mother's side, whom provided Scott's middle name of Linwood, a great-grandfather on my father's side who provided the surname Conklin, and my father who provided the first name not from his own but tangentially through ancestry and giving me a middle name I kinda hate for myself but feel embodies a lot of what this character is and stands for. He's a huge nerd. That is most certainly one thing he shares with me, and with the majority of people who will read it. But his focus as a nerd is more eclectic and practical than fandomry like my own. He loves the cultures and ideas of the world. If the world hadn't been obliterated, he surely would have gone on to become an anthropologist. But he also tries to keep up with technical progress, understanding that humanity and its grasp on the world is constantly evolving. Both past and future occupy his mind, and the present almost never satisfies him. This is the case both before and after an event known as the Breach that acts as the catalyst for the entire series. The world is a much more terrifying and dangerous place afterwards, and it instantly feels like humanity has been set back by millennia. But Scott refuses to let his fellow man sit back and await death. He'll catalyze a new era himself if he has to, and that's most certainly what he sets out to do. He just regrets that it took the end of the world for him to have the chance to write a page of history. But he certainly won't be writing it alone. I have a rather large cast of characters I plan to present to you all. This is just the beginning, and eventually I'll even be completely remaking the cover of the first book. The old one's had its time, and 2 failed attempts at sales, so I think I'll give this a fresh start. But until I make that new cover, You can all expect a lot of character designs and so on to come up here as speed paints. If I can get enough patrons to afford one, I'll gladly get a Wacom tablet to start these digitally and let you see the sketching process as well. You can also expect me to make a few based on alternate depictions and costumes for my 2 current fanfictions, Konoha's Fatal Joke and Henshin Hero Academia. And if you want a chance at getting your own request done as a speed paint on my channel, you can become one of my generous patrons and take part in a monthly speed paint request raffle. Oh, and one last thing for you all. You see, the cast of Control is going to be a lot more visually complicated than you may expect. What you're seeing of Scott now? Well, this is just his dormant form. You will have to wait a while before seeing his unleashed form, but I'll give you all a little taste before I close this one out. So, there you have him. Control's protagonist, Scott Conklin. He's a lot more complicated than you know yet, and his past is something that'll take the entire first book to uncover, and then some for a few things he doesn't even know about his own life. I hope some of you were curious enough to stick around for my announcement when it's finished and on sale. So, thank you for watching to the end, and if you want to keep up with more, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, check out my Patreon, consider donating, follow me on Twitter, and try to hop into my Discord server. All of that can be found in the description below. Thank you. This is Envoy of Kairos, signing out.